All right, we're going to be doing one of the first tests to our minerals, and it's probably one of the simplest too, called magnetism. Geologists usually have a magnet on them to see if if the mineral is magnetic. Um, the mineral magnetite, it has one of the highest iron ore contents, and it will easily stick to a magnet. Magnetite is the Fe for iron and O for oxygen. Again, they can, so you have Fe3, so you have one, two, three irons, and Fe is ferrous for Latin, and which means iron, and four oxygen atoms. One, two, three, four, all combined into a structure. Now, if they want to get rid of that, now iron is super important for buildings, everything. Really, we use it for a lot of things. So they call this ore because they can grind it up, heat it up, and get rid of the oxygen, and then you're left with a nice iron. So if you take your magnet on your piece, one of your samples is um, magnetite. Magnetite has a huge amount of iron in it, so stick easily to it. There's a couple that might have slight magnetism, but you're going to be careful. So some will stick a little bit, one will stick a lot, and that's magnetite. Magnetite's also in sand a lot of times too. It weathers out and gets washed up on the shore. And if you see real dark, a whole bunch of like dark areas on the beach, if you look really close, if there are little grains in there, a lot of times it's magnetite. So it's really cool if you take a magnet to the beach, and you can be picking those little magnetite grain sized samples, and they make really cool patterns on it. Now, there's a special type of magnetite that becomes magnetic itself, and it's actually where we got the word magnet from. Um, it's called lodestone. Uh, and in class, I'd be showing you a bunch of lodestone, but if you're just watching this, it kind of it's magnetite. It's one of the samples, however, and it will stick to a, a magnet, but it's also a magnet itself, so it will attract to other iron things like nails. So it's a really cool sample, and here they use lodestone for a lot all through history. They did it in the Chinese were the first way to figure out, hey, if we rub this on like a needle and we float it in water, it always point to magnetic north. So they used it as compasses. You can see right here. And it does float. You can even actually float the whole sample if you wanted to. And put it on there. However, you put it on like a plate and then in water like this, and it'll do it. The only hard part about that is they're heavy, so it's hard to float them. Usually, it's better to rub it onto like a needle, put it into a cork that floats around, and they did it actually with the magnetite on little wooden boards that would float up, and they know that which way is north. Now, the story goes how the magnetite got its name and the lodestone got its name is in Magnesia, which is in ancient Greece. There lived a shepherd named Magnus. One day he was looking after sheep in the hills, and he has this metal staff in his hand. And then all of a sudden, he felt a mysterious pulling on his iron staff. Just wanted to pull it right from there. Even the nails from on his sandals were being pulled out. A lot of times, they would nail down the little straps, and on the bottom, they would put nails to keep it from wearing. And these were just being ripped out. And to his great surprise, it was a huge black rock next to him that was pulling out. This is a huge sample of lodestone. And so he went over there and said, "Whoa, this is freaky." And so everybody then it soon spread across the country and about the strange rock, which we call lodestone now, that had power to pull things. So it was kind of like a magic trick he was showing everybody, and everybody started talking about it. The Greeks later found other similar black rocks which had this power. These rocks were named magnets. They don't know how exactly, but if it was under the place called Magnesia or was it Magnus himself? So we don't really know how which one it is. Magnets today are really important. They're used in refrigerators, into your phones, computers, and even in this the into trains where they have the maglev train, which very little friction, and they use it where they flip the magnet to keep it uh, to levitate off the track, and then they can flip it back to stop. So this is one of the simplest ones. You can say yes or no to to magnetism. So each one of your samples. Now remember, um, some will you can put slight or on it too, so because some of yours will have a little bit of iron in it, so it will attract, but you're like, "Whoa, that's not really attracting like heavy." And then when you go to the you'll know your magnetite because it will just stick to it like if it was on a refrigerator. And that is magnetism.